Good morning. Souls for Souls does a lot of things, but the most important thing that we do is we fight poverty. As you heard, we do that by collecting new and used shoes and clothes. We keep them out of landfills, and we also make sure that they get distributed back out in the community for people who are in need. And the big idea I'd like to talk about today, the idea that I think is worth spreading, is actually an old one. And it's a phrase that we still use a lot, and that is, one person's trash is another's treasure. So I'd like to talk about some simple things that we can do here today that when you leave, benefit not only the person and people on either side of you, but actually help people half a world away. So I'm proud of all the things in my bio that Brad read, including the fact that I just celebrated 21 years of marriage and we have 2 phenomenal daughters. And also that I'm a runner, specifically an ultra runner, which means participating in events longer than a marathon. So it's 50K, 50-mile, 100K, and 100 miles. And the picture here is from a run I did this summer called the Hard Rock 100 in the beautiful mountains of San Juan Mountains in Colorado. And it's hard. It was a hard event. 33,000 feet of gain, 33,000 feet of loss, which is the equivalent of going from sea level up to the top of Mount Everest and back down. Highest point's about 14,000 feet. Average altitude is 11,000 feet. And it took me 45 hours and 17 minutes. It was the hardest thing I've ever done physically. But incredibly satisfying. You also get a sense from looking at this picture that the terrain is pretty unforgiving. And so as a trail runner, shoes really matter to me. I care a lot about shoes. And when you show up at one of these things, people talk about shoes a lot. They talk about how they're made, what are the materials, what's it like on this sort of surface. So it's my most important piece of gear, and I have a lot of them, and I go through a lot of them. But when I'm at an event like this, and we're talking with other runners, we use a word that I don't think we think about very much that to me has become more and more important. That is, which pair of shoes are you going to wear? There's a lot of world that does not have that choice. So this picture is not in the developing world, in spite of all the trash. This picture is right here from the United States. I had a picture that I did not get the rights to that looks shockingly like this just outside of St. Louis, out near the airport. But I'm from Dallas. Have pictures that look just like this. Any big city in America has this problem. Every day Americans throw away enough trash to fill 63,000 garbage trucks full. At the end of the year, if you put those end to end, it would reach halfway to the moon. And we spend $100 billion a year on waste disposal. 4 billion pounds of that is textiles, which includes shoes and clothes. And less than 14% of that is recycled. So other than a giant environmental problem, what does this really mean for us and some sharp entrepreneurs in different parts of the world? I like to use the word opportunity. So let's drill down a little bit more and talk about where that might come to life. So this is the island of Hispaniola, which is about 700 miles off the coast of Florida, just a few hours flight from here. It was where Christopher Columbus landed in 1492. For the next 300 years or so, it was ruled by some combination of the Spanish and the French. And then in 1804, it became the second democracy in the New World and the first founded by slaves. Now, the Dominican Republic and Haiti share this island, but other than sharing a border, they have very little in common anymore. It's pretty easy to see from this picture from the air or also on the ground. It's very clear where one starts and the next one stops. So what's green and forested is the Dominican Republic. What's brown and barren is Haiti. And most of what's brown and barren is because of deforestation. People still in 2013 are cutting down trees for fuel. So it's a desperate place. But for the last 3 decades in particular, the Dominican Republic economy has just taken off. I mean, it's barely considered a developing country anymore. And it's now, this is an astounding fact to me, become the #1 destination for American honeymooners. At the same time, Haiti's economy has just continued a really sharp decline, and its political system, to the point that it is now the poorest country in the West. The second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere is Nicaragua, and it's twice as wealthy as Haiti. So I want to go through a couple of statistics that sort of, I think, spell out what the situation is in Haiti. The first is 78%. The UN defines poverty as living on less than $2 a day. Actually, there's another category, which is more depressing, extreme poverty, living on less than $1 a day. And that's 54% of Haitians. 80 out of 1,000 versus 6 out of 1,000. That first number, 80 out of 1,000, means that 80 Haitian kids out of every 1,000 don't see their first birthday. and in the US, that's 6. 50, 12, and 1. That's the illiteracy rate in Haiti. 50% of the people can't read or write. 12% is Latin America and the Caribbean overall, and 1% is what that rate is in the US. The United Nations Development Program puts out something on a regular basis called the Human Development Index, and it looks at things like life expectancy and access to water and GDP and opportunity and education, and it ranks those. Sometimes it's called the Misery Index. Haiti is 161st out of 187, so it's a pretty tough place to be. I made my first trip there in January of this year. We were on a Souls for Souls trip. We do that about 20 times a year in different countries. There were 25 of us, including my wife and daughters, and we were doing what people do on a Souls for Souls trip. We were distributing free shoes, mostly to children, through community centers, schools, and orphanages, and spent a lot of time, the attention and the love that we're able to share while we're there is just as important as the shoes. We were on our way back from being out all day, and we were going through a street very much like this, and it's really dark. Less than 25% of Haiti has electricity. So there's some pools of electric light, mostly what you see here, candles and fire. But as we're driving through, it really struck me that as I was looking, there were people in the dark, in the pools in between. So I'm looking and I'm seeing they're not just hanging out. These people are still working. So I asked our guide, Annie, who is a Haitian American and really understands both cultures, sort of what was going on. And she said something that really has stuck with me, and that is, there's no social safety net here. If you don't sell something, you don't eat. So these people who you would literally have to stumble over in the dark to find them, they couldn't go home yet. They hadn't sold enough produce or cut hair or fixed electronics or patched a shoe to go home. They didn't have enough to eat. And that's when I realized that one of my stereotypes going in, because depending how you count it, unemployment in Haiti is somewhere between 50 and 70%. That's not a work ethic problem. These people were working really hard. So it had to be something else going on. And what I have discovered and come to believe in the last few months working in Haiti and working with people who work in Haiti is that actually Haiti is a country of entrepreneurs. The same things that matter here in St. Louis to a business, and you can see it in this picture, merchandising, pricing, supply chain management, what's your competition doing, matters just as much in Saint Louis Nord in Haiti as it does right here in St. Louis City. Also, because about 70% of the economy is in the informal sector, being an entrepreneur is the only way to make a living. And in Haiti, way more than half of the entrepreneurs are women. And these women want an opportunity. This is the kind of work that they are able to do, because traditionally they've been tied to agriculture in Haiti. And like farmers everywhere, they've been dependent on the weather and soil conditions and pests and pricing. Aren't many paved roads in Haiti, so it's hard to get their goods to market. And we all know about the natural disasters, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, that wipe out their crops and their livelihoods. But just as everybody needs food, they also need shoes and clothes. And so what a lot of these women have found is that the demand for used shoes and clothes in Haiti is practically unlimited. The biggest problem that they have is they don't have enough good stuff to sell. So I'd like to introduce you to one of these women who is, I think, she's an amazing entrepreneur and an incredible example of what being given the chance to turn trash into treasure can really mean. Her name is Marie Ange, and she was born in the south of Haiti in a town called Jacmel. She's in her mid-40s, not great records. She thinks that's about right. And her life, especially early on, followed a pretty typical pattern. She got pregnant at 16. She dropped out of school. She moved in with the father of her child. In Creole, that's called placed. You're placed with them. You don't get married. And so for the next 13, 14 years or so, her life was, I think, pretty emblematic of what it's like to live in Haiti. 1 meal a day is the norm, 2 if you're lucky, almost no access to electricity, no access to clean water, and sanitation that we in this room, for the most part, can't imagine. People still die all the time from cholera in Haiti. But at 13, 14 years, her husband kicked her out. So she's on the street now. She's living in a little shack with her daughter, who sadly has followed a similar path to Marie Ange, and she's also now pregnant. So she's about to be evicted from her little shack. She is not only responsible for herself, but she's also responsible for her daughter and soon-to-be grandson. And she is panicked. And jobs are hard to come by in Haiti, but she found one at a place called the Haitian American Caucus, which they're our local partner now in Haiti, and they do great work. They provide K through 12 education, they provide adult literacy, which is very important, and they also have a microcredit program where they make small loans to mostly women entrepreneurs. So she got a job as a cook there, and as she's starting to pay attention with what's going on, she's hearing about the work that HAC is doing, she gets the entrepreneurial bug and decides that she's going to start selling used shoes and clothes. Like a lot of smart entrepreneurs, she does not quit her day job. She is up early going to the market to set up her little booth. Her daughter is working it during the day. Marie Ange goes back to cook. At the end of the day, she goes back to the market, helps her daughter wrap it up, and they do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. For 2 years, they work like this. She took a small loan of $25, parlayed that into a little bit of success. She borrowed more money to get more inventory, and now Marie Ange is at the point where she actually has employees. She is almost like a wholesaler now, people who either don't want to come to the microcredit program or who don't have the money on their own. They buy from her, and she's able to provide that credit. So she, in lots of ways, is actually living the entrepreneurial dream in Haiti. She only comes back now to HAC to cook when she wants to see friends. So I was there at the end of June. She made a hard 4-hour trip from Jacmel back to the HAC office because she wanted to see Souls for Souls, and I was the lucky recipient of a crushing bear hug from Marie Ange. This is a very powerful woman. Doing micro-enterprise, which is what we call this selling shoes to people who then go out and make their own livings, and microcredit are really hard in any developing country, and Haiti is no different. So we have an amazing partner there in HAC who provides education for the community, support for the community, support for those women entrepreneurs. They are really trusted. They are known. They know the issues. Our job is to help be a supplier. Because these women are buying in such small quantities, they get the bottom of the barrel, quite literally. They get the stuff that is the hardest to sell that nobody wants, but it's all they can afford, and they're happy to have that. But because of our relationship, we were able to take a few steps out of the supply chain and sell directly to them. So they're getting higher quality stuff at a better price. Just as important, although it wasn't as obvious to me, at least to start, is the fact that we are a consistent supplier. Almost all of these women have been burned by the fact that in order to make their next loan payment, they were counting on the next shipment of shoes or clothes, and it doesn't show up. They owe the money, they go into financial tailspin, they can't pay it, they're embarrassed in front of their community. So being a consistent supplier of higher quality goods is a big deal, and we're happy to be in partnership with them. And Sam Darguen, who is he's also Haitian American, runs HAC, he talks about how these women come to him and to their organization their hopes and dreams for their families and their futures and making a difference in their lives, but they have just been sort of beaten down by a financial system that really doesn't know they exist and can't help them in any way. And he said something that also has stuck with me a long time. He said, they come to me, these women are confident, they are putting their kids through school, they are making it work, and they are basically daring us to trust them. They are daring us, and this is the phrase I love the most, to give them a chance to show their greatness. So since Souls for Souls was started not quite 10 years ago, we've distributed more than 20 million pairs of shoes and millions of pieces of clothing. That means that we've kept about 30 million pounds of textiles out of the landfills, and we're very proud of that. We're equally proud of the fact that that stuff that was going to be in the trash, we found another use for. We helped get that on the feet, on the backs of people who really wanted to make a difference in their lives. And so next time you go into your closet, you have a choice to make. We all have a choice to make. We can do what we usually do, which is throw it away. It doesn't fit, it's worn out, it's the wrong fashion, I need new running shoes. The easiest thing to do in our culture is to chuck it. Nobody will really notice, nobody will probably call you on that. Or you can make a huge difference by donating it. You can donate it to Salvation Army, you can donate it to the Urban League, you can donate it to Goodwill, Homeless Shelter, Battered Women's Shelter, or Souls for Souls. The most important thing is that by taking something that you are finished with, you can give it another life in another country, and that's the choice that you have to make. So I'd like to finish my time by sort of letting you know where Marie Ange is right now. I love this picture. This is Marie Ange showing Annie, her back is to us in this picture, her new house. So she has been able to work hard enough and be successful enough that in a few years, she's building what by any standards, let alone Haitian standards, is a pretty big house. More importantly, not only does she is she building this house? She owns the land underneath it. And in Haiti, it's very rare for a woman to own property, very difficult. And we all know security is important here, but imagine somebody with Marie Ange's background. She can't be thrown out of this anymore, right? This is hers. The thing that in the background, you really can't see very well is her second husband. The first one is gone, and her daughter. But what you can't see in this picture is when she takes Annie's hand, and I've watched the video of this 100 times, and it still gives me goosebumps. When she takes Annie's hand to bring her up on that foundation, the pride and the satisfaction that she has of showing what she's been able to accomplish with a lot of help. But what she's been able to accomplish is unbelievable. And as much pride as you see in her face is also the fact that she has made a difference, not just for herself, but think about it for a second. It's 3 generations. It's herself, it's her daughter, and it's her grandson. And that is an amazing thing for a woman that just a few years ago was on the street. Just a quick update. This picture was taken in May. The last time we checked in, she was waiting for a few more doors to move into her finished house, so she's almost ready to move in. The last thing I would like to say about this is that as special as Marie Ange is, and she really is something else, there are thousands of Marie Anges in Haiti and millions around the world. We sell shoes to them in dozens of countries, and even though the details might be different, the results are the same. And the opportunity that we all have to help them change the trajectory of their lives by finding those things that we're finished with and giving them another life in another country can really change people's lives. So the idea of helping people who really want to work, who are looking for dignity and hope in their own lives, and all we have to do is help turn our trash into someone else's treasure, I hope that's the choice that you make the next time. Thanks.